Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2000 BC. The album, Dad. AF. Okay, let's get right into this video. I was getting ready to take a nap with my dogs, and I just happened to be scrolling through Twitter right before I did, and I was getting DMs and tweets nonstop from people saying that Tati had uploaded a video, which is very, very interesting, okay? Because several days ago, I said that I thought something was gonna happen on Wednesday or Thursday, that I didn't think 2 or 3 days could go by without anything else happening. This, though, I have to say, is not what I expected to happen. I did not expect for Tati to come out and basically make a statement, which almost kind of indirectly felt to me like a public apology for what she had done that resulted in the downfall of James Charles, so to speak. So I want to say 2 things before I get into this, before I kind of tell you guys my thoughts about this video. Number one, because I was a little confused at first, I will tell you. Number one, it's important for you guys to know that I have watched Tati for several years. I call her Hot Tati. She knows that. She thinks it's funny. I have talked to her several times. She has been just absolutely dear, compassionate, kind. She is one of the kindest people I have ever met and ever talked to in my entire life. And honest to God, from my experience, what you see on camera is what you get in real life, okay? That's number one. Number two, I went into this video, and at the beginning, I was kind of like, so you made this video the other day, and now you're trying to you're trying to do damage control because it exploded into something that you didn't want it to be, which is exactly what she's doing, okay? Because she feels so much pain about what happened to James as a result of that. And the reason why, okay, is because Tati Westbrook is one of the kindest, most compassionate, sympathetic, and empathetic people that is on YouTube. Period. End of story. From my experience. Okay? To come out and to make this video when she didn't have to, and she said that in there. I could have been on news stations doing interviews. I could have talked about this at length, on and on and on. It was one of the most genuine and authentic, vulnerable and raw responses I have ever seen to this whole situation that is going on. And to come from the person that it started from is very, very interesting to me. And I think it's important to talk about that. You know that all of these things were going on, but James hadn't really taken a huge hit until Tati came out with this video. And I've said this in my other videos, but I'll say it again in here. I do not believe, and she said this and she addressed it in the video that she made today. I think the video is called, This Is Why I Did It. I do not believe that when Tati sat down to film that video, which I have to believe was painful for her, to sit down and tell truth on one of her closest friends that she had mentored, okay? Sister, mother, mentor to him. I mean, I've had mentors in my life. I have had people that have told me things that I didn't necessarily want to hear. And I have to imagine that might have been one of the most painful things she had to do. Also at the expense, at the time, that she had 5-6 million subscribers, he had 16 million. If you were gonna bet on that, the bet was on she was gonna lose, okay? She was the one that was gonna be greatly affected by all this. And I'm not saying who was gonna lose as far as a competition. I mean, who was gonna take the harder hit? Tati was the one that was taking the bigger risk, okay? Why? And this is very, very important because she addresses this in the video. She had had many, many private conversations with him and he wasn't listening. And it wasn't just about one issue and it wasn't just about another thing. And she said, this is about many things, okay? And what I have to believe that she meant by that, because she said when I first met him, I related to him and he was this small, kid that just was like, trying to make it up and whatever. And I think what she's saying is he started here and he turned into something that I didn't like what I saw anymore, okay? And I think many of us have experienced that with people in our lives before, many of us. I think many of us have been those people that have turned into something that we didn't want to turn into, and sometimes we don't even realize that, I say this a lot in my videos because it's important that I own this, and it's important that I continue to work on it. I have been humbled many times in my life. I have had my truth shown to me by other people. Some of it's true, some of it's not. But every single time I have the opportunity to get cocky and say, you don't know me, this isn't about you, and whatever, or I can look at that situation, I can take inventory of my life, I can take inventory of the ways I've affected other people and my behaviors and say, I've fallen on my face, I need to get back up, what can I learn from this experience? Who do I want to be as a human being? Who do I want to be going forward, right? if anything that I learned from this video, which resonated and or resounded off of the last video, is that Tati Westbrook is probably the greatest friend that James Charles has ever had. Because she told him some things he didn't want to hear. And I truly, truly believe that that is a friend. I think taking it to a public forum, I think she's regretting that. I think she's thinking twice about that. I think I saw so much pain in this video of what she was going through. And I mean, basically what she's saying is, yes, I wanted him to learn from this. I wanted him to learn a lesson, right? But I didn't want him to feel it on this level. And if I had ever had any idea it would go to this length, I probably would never do it. It's kind of what I heard her saying. And because at the beginning she says, stop the hate. It's enough. Stop the anger, stop the hate. And I think the real lesson to this for any of us out there, for any of us out there, okay, is that before we put out anything into the world, we have to really think about how that could possibly, because once you put that out there in the world, you have no control over what happens to it. You have no control how that snowballs, what it turns into, what it becomes next, right? And watching this, there was a moment when I was watching it where she looked like she was just going to fold in because the pain was so overwhelming and so great to her, which shows her compassion and her kindness, right? That what I'm sure she's like, this is not what I wanted. You guys are missing it. Like, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want James canceled. And she says in there, I do believe that he will be successful again. You know, and what's interesting is I looked at his social blade, and since this video's gone up, he's starting to shoot through the roof again. So I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple days. She said in the video that she had reached out to him because she wanted to sit down and talk to him and look at him face to face and say, I do not hate you, I love you. And I think that one thing that's really, really important that we often forget is that you can love somebody, but you do not have to like them or like their behaviors. But you can still have compassion and love in your heart for them, right? And just because she doesn't necessarily like who James Charles has turned into doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't love him. That doesn't mean that they couldn't reconcile this relationship down the road if he would learn from this and turn into something different. If he would learn from this and say, I want to be a better person. I don't want to be this person, right? It makes you wonder what everybody behind the scenes knows. I mean, she said this is not about money. This is not about sugar bear hair, things like this. I think that one of the things that was really important about the first video, and, you know, I didn't really think about this till later, but that she talked about her husband in there, and she even went in and talked about what her husband did. And yes, it was to explain because he had helped James out with management and things like that. But if you all know that industry, let's just be for real, okay? He was a bigwig in the industry. They're not hurting for money. Tati Westbrook does not need YouTube and sponsorships to support her financially. And that's basically what she was saying. And in this video, she said, if this is going to be about money, and she was alluding, she's like, this isn't about hair pills, okay? If this is going to end up being about money and friendships lost over money, that's kind of what she was saying, and people fighting and feuding and all this stuff, then I don't want any part of it. Like, I don't want to be any part of that. And hey, I get that with her, you know, like, and the pain that she felt in this situation, it just unfathomable to me, you know, that I can't believe what she's been going through the last couple days. And she says in there, you know, like all the success that I have had as a result of this, that I would turn it over. You know, and I think what she realizes, because she is such a genuine and raw person, is that the success that she's gained over the last couple days is, and I've said this in my videos, I hope that people aren't just subscribing because it's the popular thing to do, or you're picking Team Tati or Team James, but I hope that people are coming to Tati and they're seeing, as a result of this, what a wonderful, amazing creator that she is, and that she's really passionate about what she does, and that is why people are subscribing. Because I think for her now, it's like, well, I gained all these subscribers, right? But as a result of this, I didn't want this. Like, I didn't want this. Like, no, this isn't what I wanted. And she says I would trade it all back again. You know, like, I don't take it all from me. And, you know, I have to say I admire her. I respect her, you know. And like I said, it kind of felt like an apology to some degree, because I think in her heart of hearts, she feels horrible for how this turned out. But I also feel like she knew that this was what she needed to do, you know, that she needed to come out. I'm much more private about things like that, you know, and I don't like, my opinion doesn't change about how she handled things, but I like to handle things with people one-on-one. That's just how I've always been. That's how I was raised to be. But I understand in her situation, they're two public people. okay? If this were Judy Smith and, you know, Sally Sue down the street that didn't have YouTube, maybe it would never happen there. But would it happen in the grocery? Would it happen, you know, at a restaurant somewhere if enough became enough, you know? And I think that sometimes it's hard for us because YouTube is this unreal world that we don't really understand by just sitting here and looking at all of this. She felt like she had no other option. And what she's saying is, I loved James so much. I loved him so much that I felt like this is what I needed to do. It didn't come from a point of anger. It didn't come from a point of hatred. We've seen a lot of people expose people because they do not like them, okay? That's easy. She did it because she loved James. And now the result is painful for her because she never wanted this to happen to him. She never wanted him to feel the pain that he's feeling because she loved him and she didn't want him to suffer like this. And she really didn't think that this is what was going to happen. She really didn't, and she said that. And I have to believe, looking at the numbers, looking at reality, being a realist, okay, in that situation, looking at it, there's no way she could have guessed this was going to happen. There just isn't. Unless all the cards were lined up and this thing was so controlled and so calculated and so manipulated behind the scenes by all these people that were going to come up and back up Tati's story, that they knew that it was going to happen before it did, and that it just boom, 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 dropped like a game of cards. If that's the case, or a house of cards, if that's the case, then this goes much deeper than two friends and a falling out and trying to teach somebody a lesson. And I just like today watching Tati's video, I'm not sure I believe that. Do I believe that could be other people's motives? Sure. I don't believe that's Tati Westbrook's motive. I just don't. This isn't who she is. She doesn't take to YouTube and do these kinds of videos. She said that in this video. She said, this is not what I do. I don't take this. And at this point, she's wanting it to stop. She's wanting the hatred to stop. If you are somebody that has subscribed to Tati, if you are somebody that loves Tati, if you are somebody that respects Tati, if you are somebody that has watched all of this go down, and I have made a point since all this has happened to not tweet out a bunch of humorous memes and all this kind of stuff. Have I talked about it? Sure. Have I tried to play fair to all sides? I have tried to. But I have tried to stay out of the realm of getting really, really cruel with some of this stuff. I've had my opinions, but I've tried to stay away from that. That doesn't make me perfect. Am I going to be honest with you and tell you that I've seen some kind of memes and laughed? Absolutely. I've seen them. I've laughed. You know, I was talking about the other day about the videos of people dancing to his apology video and things like that, which she addressed, and she said, you know, James apologized, and I guess she accepts that apology. But this is the thing, okay? And like, yes, I've laughed behind the scenes, but I've done my best to stay away from that in the public eye. And I think that what she's asking of us is to not further that anymore. And if we respect her, and if we love her, and if we care about her, and if we subscribe to her, then I think that we have to respect that, you know? I think we have to listen to what she's saying about that. Part of the problem is that even though this is what she wants, and this is going further, and she says, you know, he apologized for it, many of us don't believe that apology. We don't believe that it was genuine. We don't believe it was authentic. And what she's done is she's exposed him for being this arrogant kid that has no emotions, no feelings, and no care about his friends, right? And to us in that apology, that's what we saw. But that's not about Tati. That's about James. That has nothing to do with Tati whatsoever. And at this point, it has a lot to do with what James does moving forward. It really doesn't have anything to do with Tati. I respect the hell out of her for getting on video and saying this. I think this video had to be more painful for her to make than the second or than the first video. And she said in the video that she reached out to him, and she said, I would love to sit down, I think I said this already, but that she would love to sit down with him at the Google offices, which she's saying non-territorial. Neither one of us have any, like, this isn't territorial for either one of us. Sit down in a place that's non-territorial. I want to look at him in his eyes and I want to say, I don't hate you, I love you. And at the end of the day, what we have to respect is that this is why she did this, because she really, really loves James Charles. She really, really cares about James Charles, and she wants what's best for him. And I think that the way that she did it, now she's like second guessing, and it's really, really painful to her. I love the quote by Maya Angelou, and it's, when you're going through one of the most painful things in your entire life, look up, because you're about to learn one of the greatest lessons you've ever learned in your entire life. That has been true many, many times in my life. I wish it weren't. I wish I learned more lessons from the good things than the bad, but sometimes that's just not the case. And whether she likes to admit it or not, on a huge level, this came out publicly, but I really, really hope that James learns from everything that happened. She is a very, very dear friend, and I think that she is a genuinely authentic, caring person. And that's what I think about the video, and I'm gonna go take a nap now. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.